This is this week's Bar from Afar. Thanks for joining us today. Just to let you know, I actually planned originally on making 3 drinks today. However, we had a few issues getting some ingredients in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to revisit one of the drinks that was scheduled for today, the Casanova, and a series in about 2 weeks where we're going to talk about hot beverages. So with those, you'll be able to, we'll mix up some hot toddies, and we'll make some really unique versions of those that you'll be able to enjoy. In the meantime, we're going to get started with this week's offerings. We're going to be doing 2 of them. First, a little more interesting and unique. It's called the Vintage Dream. And the second one is a much more traditional beverage called Boulevardier. The common ingredient in both of these is bourbon, and we're going to be using one of my favorite bourbons today, Angel's Envy. That's going to be our base. And then you can see I've got a few other ingredients over here. Just to get us started, I chilled my martini glass. And usually a Boulevardier is usually served in a Marie Antoinette glass or a small bowl wine glass. We don't have those here, so we're going to make it in a martini glass. And then the second drink, or the first drink, the Vintage Dream, is going to be prepared and served in a rocks glass. The other unique thing about both drinks today is they are not shaken. I have my shaker here. We're actually going to mix everything in the cup. They are all asked to be stirred. Now you may be curious, what's the difference? Well, who cares if you shake it, you stir it? James Bond wants things shaken, not stirred. There is a difference. It has to do with the way the flavors blend and the way they mix. If you have a really discerning palate, or if you're curious or you want to explore, I encourage you to try both. Mix it up and then shake it up. It does layer differently. There are some different flavors in there you get to experience. So without any further ado, let's start with our first drink. Now, the first drink is called the Vintage Dream. And what it is, we're going to start off with 1.5 ounces of bourbon. And we want to put these into our glass with ice. So we're going to put this here. Actually, a little bit too much. But we're going to be stirring now. We'll do 1 1/2. So here it is. 1 1/2. And then the next ingredient is a nice brandy. It actually encourages you to use a good brandy. We have chosen today Ciroc VS brandy, very special. Not very familiar with French brandy, so this is going to be interesting for me as well. This asks me to add another ounce of that, so we'll go ahead and add an ounce of brandy to our bourbon here. Class up the joint a little bit. And then something that really sent me off the rails, I wasn't really too sure what we were going to do. It calls for a creme de banana or banana liqueur. So we are going to add 1/2 ounce of banana liqueur to this. I'm very curious to see what this does to this drink. As I said before, I've never made this before. These are always an experiment. It's always our first time out. We always need to try these. So if it's awful, I promise I'll let you know. And then the last thing was something really interesting. At some point, I'm going to do a class just on bitters, about making bitters, about what the difference is between the bitters, because to be very honest with you, I don't know myself. It's a great way for me to do some studying and some research. Today, we're going to be adding some chocolate bitters, or mole bitters. It's a traditional, these are called Aztec chocolate. It's southern border flair, which probably goes nicely with the banana flavors as well. It has to add 3 to 5 dashes. So we'll add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what kind of direction that takes as well. And then, as per the directions, we'll give it a stir. Then, take that, and we'll pour this into our rocks glass with rocks already ready. I imagine you can probably garnish that with something very interesting. You can't really see it from here because of the camera, but I can actually see the way the liqueurs are blended together, which I suspect if we had shaken that, it probably not would have done at the same time. So let's see. That is dangerously good. A little on the sweet side, but not too sweet. It's definitely got some really unique characteristics in there. Definitely worth exploring. So that's our first drink here. And now, we are going to try something a little more traditional with a twist called the Boulevardier. Now, the Boulevardier is a fairly traditional drink. In the same way that a Negroni is usually made with gin, Boulevardier is basically a Negroni made with bourbon or whiskey, and that's what we're going to do here. Except instead of adding Campari, we're going to take it in a different direction. We are going to add some pomegranate liqueur. They have very similar characteristics. I'm very curious. It was a suggestion that I found along the way, and I'm very curious to see how this works out. So, following directions from the Boulevardier, we're going to start off again. I'm just going to clean out my jig here. And we're going to start off back with our angel's envy. And for this, we are going to add 1.5 ounces. Did I get that size right? There. So, just one. There we go. Put our icing on top of that. Probably should have done that first. Again, not a lot, just a little. And then check my recipe here. And then we are going to go ahead and we're going to add 1 ounce of Antico Formula Sweet Vermouth. So that's what I have here. Antico Formula Sweet Vermouth. Specifically called for, I suppose you could probably get it with any sweet vermouth, but we have the opportunity to class it up here a little bit, so why not? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add half. Actually, it calls for 3/4, so we'll go ahead and add half. Quarter. And then the last ingredient would be where we would add the Campari, but we're not going to do that today. Today we're going to use the pomegranate liqueur. And that actually asks for, make sure I get that right, 1 ounce. So we'll add 1 ounce of that. And as before, what we're going to do is we're going to stir it up. We're not going to try and stir it briskly. We're not going to try and be too aggressive with it. We're just going to blend those flavors together nice and easily. I have my martini glass here, which has been chilling. Like that. And we'll pour this on our martini. And this is your pomegranate Boulevardier. It's a little sweeter than I would have expected. I might add probably a little bit more bourbon, which maybe I'll do when the camera's off. But it's pretty good. It's definitely interesting. It's hard. It's got a nice bite at the end as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, our 2 drinks this week. I hope you had some fun making these with me. I had a lot of fun putting them together. I'm certainly going to have a good time testing them. We have our pomegranate Boulevardier and the vintage drink. Join us here again on Friday when we do the Home Chef unboxing for this week. And join us back here again next Wednesday for the cocktails for next week, which it'll be May 6th. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a tequila and mezcal tasting for you. We're going to show you the differences and variations and teach you a little bit about where that stuff comes from. So that should be a lot of fun. As always, if you're a resident here in Everly, you can have all of these items plus the home box, the Home Chef box delivered to you here. If you're thinking about becoming a resident here at Everly, this could be your kitchen. And if you're just watching at home, having a good time watching me sip these beverages, thanks for joining us. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, be good to each other, and we'll see you back here next week.